So guys, when it comes to my training methodologies, I'm a big proponent of doing things that build strength, build muscle, but overall increases your conditioning. I'm a big fan of doing cardio, but not in the sense that people oftentimes believe, which is walking on the treadmill, going out for a run. I'm all about doing cardiovascular, getting the cardiovascular effects, but in a resistance-based capacity. Now, why is that? Is because I want to focus on primarily my number one objective is to build strength and muscle. Now, why is that my number one objective? Because when you build strength and muscle, and the more of it you build, the more you're going to be able to condition your metabolism, and that's what's going to allow you to actually burn fat. You don't really burn fat when you train. You burn fat as a direct byproduct of the metabolism being stimulated. Okay, think of it as like a wind turbine. Let's just say every time, just like how when a big turbine is outside and it's windy, right? It starts to spin fast. When there's not as much wind present, it slows down. So the wind present is equivalent to your training. So when you're training consistently, it keeps that metabolism running, just like the engine of a car. But here's the thing: when you're doing your movements, you want to make sure that it's getting your heart rate up. That's why I'm such a big fan of doing a lot of time under tension sets, sets that prolong 60 seconds. I'm talking about getting into the 2-minute, 3-minute range. To many, it sounds excessive, guys, but for anybody who's ever done this or trained this way, you definitely see the benefits. Not only are you experiencing what's called oxygen debt, muscle fatigue, but also you're able to get your heart rate up. And again, this is when we start to tap into what's called VO2 Max. VO2 Max basically is your maximum heart rate abilities. And the thing is that elevates whenever you train this way. So when people oftentimes have their criticism on this kind of training, just keep in mind that number one, when you're able to get your heart rate up, you're doing cardio. Okay, cardio doesn't necessarily mean you have to do a particular activity. People oftentimes, like I said, like to resort to more lower intensity stuff, and that's fine. But again, on my page, I talk about what's going to allow you to get more bang with less time. Okay, if you want to spend 2 hours training, that's fine. Do your thing. But I think for most of us, we would agree that less is more in terms of if I can allocate less time and get better results, that's the best route to take. And what helps you with that is systems just like my Lion Strength and Training series, which allows you to get all three. You don't believe me?